The GPC is the global protocol for community-scale greenhouse gas emissions, and it was the first of its kind in terms of a global, consistent, transparent methodology for cities to track their greenhouse gas emissions.
If we're thinking about the global emission trajectory, so globally we need to peak our emissions around 2020 so that we can phase out greenhouse gas emissions by mid-century. So this is the urgent time actually. So it's no longer okay to do qualitative climate action planning, but we have to do it quantitatively. So how to do it? There are a couple of steps we need to do. So the very first step is about developing an inventory, so the so-called greenhouse gas emission inventory. Based on this, then cities can do analysis based on the data and set their target and develop their action plan based on the fact and figures. Then implement their actions more effectively and focus on those really hotspots of emission. And then through this cycle, cities can track their performance over time and track their progress against the target that they have committed to. And hopefully through this cycle, over the time, they will increase their ambition as well, in line with the Paris Agreement.
There's a number of problems that happened that were emerging kind of at the end of the early 2000s. As a result of not having consistent methodologies, it was very hard for cities to compare themselves to each other, to understand and learn from successes, and more importantly from failures, because when you try to stack up the emissions and look at the impact associated with policies or actions, it wasn't even comparing apples to pineapples. It was more like comparing fruits to vegetables. It was just too different. You couldn't do it. That was one issue. Second issue, we were trying to talk about scale and the impact and how the aggregated effort from cities around the world couldn't do it again because it was structured too differently. So there's some genesis, some history to this. This really came as cities came emerging onto the field in terms of wanting to take more action, to do more, but also do it transparently, be held accountable to their citizens. They started themselves developing these. So it happened in a very bottom-up, ad hoc way, which led to this larger global inconsistency issue. And really the only thing at the time had been the guidance that the IPCC, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, they had a methodology developed for national governments. So national governments could all do their national inventories in a similar way that would feed in to the negotiating process under the UNFCCC. So what happened is a lot of consultants and cities started downscaling that national level inventory methodology, tweaking it, changing it, altering it for their specific context, i.e. the country, the type of the city. So you had this kind of plethora of different methodologies created. There was some early harmonization where some countries or some entities tried to do that, but at the best, it was only at a regional level. So for all those needs, WRI, the World Resources Institute, ICLEI, C40, and a number of partners like the UN Habitat and the World Bank came together to try to tackle this issue once and for all.
There are many challenges when cities are developing their greenhouse gas inventories. So I would like to highlight two challenges. So one is in terms of capacity. So apparently not all the cities have the necessary technical capacity to do their inventories. So that's why through this GPC framework, actually over the past years, we have built global partnerships on providing training, capacity building to cities. When I say cities, it includes city staff, practitioners, and researchers. The second challenge I would like to highlight here is about data. So data is always an issue to any city. So regardless whether it's developed countries or in developing countries. So one of the things that we are trying to do is to help the national government to unlock the data to help cities to develop their inventories. So in some cities, also we work together with cities to create data management system to institutionalize the data collections every year, so that all the data will be fed into this process automatically every year. I would call for more contribution from the broader stakeholders on really creating this database to help cities to develop their inventories and do their climate action plans.
It's not just cities. It's amazing also how many partners and how many different academics are using that. But just specifically on cities, right now C40 as an example, we have 91 of the world's mega cities as members, and we've got a program with which to assist every single city in C40 to have a GPC-based inventory within the next 3 years.